For a very long time, we told a simple story about the ancient world. Civilization began in a few special places: Egypt, Mesopotamia, later Rome. Stone cities, big monuments, the kinds of things that survive long enough to impress archaeologists. Other places were described very differently. South America, for example, was beautiful, but mostly empty. The Amazon was untouched, the Maya were isolated, and cultures that didn't leave stone behind were often treated as if they'd barely been there at all. The forests are very good at keeping secrets. If you'd flown over the Amazon 100 years ago, all you'd see was green, endless green. And the assumption was simple: nature won. But recently, we learned how to look differently. With LiDAR laser scanning that peers through forest canopy, archaeologists were able to digitally peel the jungle back. And underneath it, roads, villages, geometric earthworks, canals, causeways, carefully planned settlements. Not scattered huts, neighborhoods. Across Brazil, Bolivia, and the Upper Xingu region, what we once called wilderness turned out to be designed space, shaped patiently over generations. Some of these settlements were linked together into regional networks. Not one city. Many population estimates now suggest millions of people lived across the Amazon basin before. European contact, possibly 8 to 10 million, comparable to parts of medieval Europe. The Amazon wasn't untouched, it was maintained. Now, there was always one major objection to the idea of large Amazonian cities: the soil. Rainforest soil is thin, not ideal for long-term farming, which is why terra preta stopped people in their tracks. Dark earth made by people. Charcoal, food waste, bones, ash, compost, layered slowly, deliberately, over centuries. And here's the extraordinary part: that soil is still fertile over 1,000 years later. Instead of exhausting the land, these communities improved it permanently. They didn't conquer the rainforest. They worked with it, and when disease arrived, long before detailed records were kept, populations collapsed faster than history could catch up. The forest did what forests do: it grew back. The Maya were never ignored. They fascinated us. Calendars, astronomy, mathematics. But for a long time, they were quietly described as small, fragmented, isolated. That picture no longer holds. LiDAR surveys across Guatemala, Belize, and southern Mexico have revealed thousands of previously unknown structures. Cities beneath the jungle, roads linking urban centers, terraces, reservoirs, and agricultural systems feeding entire regions. This wasn't scattered brilliance. It was regional planning. Population estimates now suggest that Maya lands supported several million people, possibly 10 million or more, across the wider region. Comparable, in scale, to parts of the Roman world. But the footprint is different. No endless quarries, no stripped hillsides, no permanent scars visible from space. The Maya fed millions of people, without erasing the forest they lived in. That isn't luck. That's mastery. For generations, the Maya were framed as a later civilization, something that rose after Egypt and Mesopotamia had already written the rulebook. But the timeline is no longer that simple. The roots of Maya civilization stretch back well over 3,000 years. Their early development overlaps with Old Kingdom Egypt, early Mesopotamian city-states, while Egypt was raising pyramids of stone, and Mesopotamia was building cities of brick. The Maya were developing complex cosmology, sophisticated agricultural systems, tuned to difficult environments. Long count timekeeping that reached far into the past and future, different expressions, same depth, and there's something else we're only just beginning to understand. The Maya didn't invent their world from scratch, they inherited it. Certain farming techniques appear fully formed. Urban layouts emerge without obvious trial. Symbolic systems hint at older traditions beneath them, which tells us something important. There were civilizations before the Maya, teachers, engineers, knowledge keepers, whose names we don't yet know. Not because they were insignificant, but because their cities were made of earth and wood, and their knowledge was carried in people, not stone. Time and forest are thorough. In Australia, Aboriginal peoples were long described with one word, nomadic, which quietly implied simple. But archaeology and indigenous knowledge that was always there tells a different story. Firestick farming shaping entire ecosystems. Seasonal food systems sustaining populations over tens of thousands of years. Fish traps older than the pyramids. Songlines mapping land, water, law, and memory with astonishing precision. This wasn't a failure to build cities. It was a refusal to damage systems that worked. 65,000 years of continuity isn't an accident. It isn't luck. It's expertise. Rome built roads that still cut across continents. Egypt built monuments that defy time itself. Those are real achievements. They deserve their place, but they are not the only model of civilization. Because while Rome expanded outward and Egypt reached for eternity, other cultures, like the Mayan and the Australian Aboriginals, chose longevity of a different kind. They built societies designed to disappear without destroying the systems that sustained them. Biodegradable civilizations, not weaker, just quieter. So, as we face soil exhaustion, climate strain, and ecological limits, it turns out the cultures we once described as primitive were solving problems we're still struggling with. Not with domination, with balance. We once called the Amazon untouched because we couldn't see ourselves in it. We called Maya cities isolated because we didn't recognize networks without kings. We called countless civilizations missing because we were only looking for stone. But history isn't just written in ruins. Sometimes it's written in soil. In forests shaped gently over centuries. In systems designed to disappear without destroying the world around them. And maybe the greatest tragedy isn't that these civilizations were lost. It's that we mistook respect for absence and silence for insignificance. Because sometimes the most advanced societies aren't the ones that leave the loudest ruins, but the ones that knew how not to. We explore history where curiosity matters more than certainty. Subscribe if you'd like to keep walking with us. If you'd like to listen rather than watch. This episode and others like it are also available on Spotify. And if you want to help make work like this possible, slowly, carefully, and without ads dictating the story, Patreon is how some people choose to support us.